but it's also finding that social interaction that'll allow you to have, a sense of community and a sense of even finding that purpose. And really, I think a lot of that comes from, your hobbies.
Welcome to the Rise of Retirement Podcast. Are you curious about what to do 5 years before you retire? I'm Casey Smith. Today, I'm joined with our financial advisor, Michaela Dowdy. Each week, we bring you practical advice on retirement investing and planning for your financial future. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. Let's get started. Hey, Michaela.
Hey, Casey.
What to do 5 years prior to retirement is probably see a financial advisor.
Yes.
As soon as I saw this title that they wanted to discuss today, I thought, man, that's when a lot of people come in. It's like about 5 years prior, but you got to be in here 10 years prior or even 15 years prior.
Yes.
Anyway.
But I do feel like the big time to come in is about that 3 to 5 year period. I think people are like, oh, I've got to go in and make sure everything's set up. But then a lot of times you're pretty set at that point. At the 5 year mark, it's pretty much it is what it is. There's not a lot of fluctuation versus, 15 years out, we can make some adjustments and have a lot more flexibility there.
Well, you've got a good list here. I'm excited to get through how many do we have?
I think there's 8.
8.
Yes.
8, your 8 things you should be doing prior to 5 years prior to retirement. That's a really long title. All right. So I guess let's kind of start diving into it. Retirement's a big transition for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that we meet with a lot of people who typically, if you're coming to a wealth management firm, you probably got things kind of mostly figured out, or at least you've been a good saver probably.
Yes.
But I think what I find myself saying the most to people is go live a life.
Exactly.
I mean,
yes.
It's crazy. It's like we've
doing.
been saving. You're just programmed to save, and then you finally get to that day and they don't do anything. And so I sit here saying, where is it you want to go? I've always wanted to go to Paris. It's like, well, go to Paris.
Book the ticket.
Yeah, book the ticket. I don't know. I don't know if we can afford that. I'm like, and you show them the projection to this is how much money you have at 95. And you're probably not going to live to 95, but this is our standard projection.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, that's a lot of money. It's like, yeah. Like I literally told somebody who's incapable of ever buying a new car. This a couple of weeks ago, they're literally incapable. They have 3 very old cars, very, very old cars. Don't need to have old cars. These are like 20 plus year old cars. And and kudos to Honda and Toyota. They last a long time.
Yeah, they do.
I literally said, he goes, well, it's hard to buy cars because I like a manual transmission. And I said, okay, well, go buy a Porsche. A Porsche GTS has a manual has a manual transmission. And his wife's like, oh my gosh, he would never buy a Porsche. And so I was like,
surely Toyota has to have a manual somewhere.
You would think. I'm sure you can custom order anything, right? But I literally went to his plan and there's like a little Porsche picture of a sports car, and I put it in there, and I put $350,000 in there, which he is incapable of doing that. I understand this, but I figured, well, you can only go to the extreme in order to get him back to center, right?
Yes.
So I was like, you can buy this Porsche, and the needle didn't move. They still had like 99% probability of
oh my goodness,
not running out of money, right? And the next week, she sent me a message that said, well, it's not a Porsche, but we're going to nickname it Porsche.
Oh, what'd they get?
It was like a 2022 or 23 Honda something.
Amazing.
Yeah. It still had to certify warranty or something attached to it. And for him like that, I'm sure he's like trying to figure out Apple Play. I don't know if Honda even has that, but
it should typically. I feel
you
like
you would think. But yeah, so that's what I find myself doing. And a lot of people that I work with have been at this firm for 15 to 20 years. So at this point, I can say things that or on the good friend spectrum versus just having to be professional, right?
Yes, no, exactly. You get to have more of that almost like friendship in a way, like a nice like advisor of a friendship in some ways.
Right, exactly.
But it is funny though, because that is so how it goes, where it's the clients that have, the best success and, have just saved so well for retirement, because they're in such that saving mindset.
Right.
When it comes down to, hey, you should really be spending this money you've worked so hard to save on the things that are important to you. It feels wrong.
And then if you apply, it feels wrong to them. Mm-hmm. But then if you look at the last 10 years and the stock market's done so well, that even what they're spending normally, you're getting double the amount back in rate of return, sometimes triple the amount.
No, definitely.
Now that's not every case. I mean, we still have to have those hard conversations with people of, you got to dial it back, got to think about your future. I mean, that still happens, but I find that at least in this season of review meetings, that seems to be what the most common theme is go live a life, go find something you want to do, go live a life. In this particular case, the gentleman is dealing with some health issues and really can't leave the house because what he's on, he has no immune system.
Oh goodness.
So he should be wearing a mask and, there's all kind of perceptions of people who wear masks now. He's nothing political. It's literally just,
for his health.
He did some major surgery and he can't be out. In fact, last year, I think he came to the office and just the trip here and back, somehow he got sick.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So probably one of us here, without even knowing it, being perfect, healthy people, were carrying something, and he got very sick, but he insists on coming in. But so I told him, I said, go buy the Porsche. You don't have to be around anybody. No. Right?
No, you don't. Not anymore.
You can drive to your heart's content. But hopefully he'll do that in his Honda and get out of his house. But
yes.
All right. Well, let's start with your list you've put together.
Yes. So, I mean, this really touches on essentially what we were talking about just a second ago, where really starting to define what that retirement or what your retirement will look like for you is huge. So, really trying to figure out, okay, your last day of work comes around. Well, what are you going to do with each day after that? Because the big thing that we see is a lot of times, people don't think of, well, what is my schedule going to be after retirement? And if you don't already have, a thought process of, I want to be involved in this organization in the community, or I want to be involved in this after, retirement, or I want to focus more in on this volunteer opportunity that I've been a part of, but I want to be even more involved. Or even like, I want to go to the golf course and play golf with my buddies every single day, Yeah,
that sounds good until you actually try to do it.
True. Maybe a couple times a week.
All right.
But it's really figuring out what is it that is going to fill your days. Now, I think also that being said, I think a lot of times when we talk to retirees, it's either I'm not doing that much, or it's, I'm doing so much, I have less time. I don't know how I ever worked.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
It goes both ways. And, those are both great for both people. So it just depends on what you want your retirement to look like. But it's going ahead and outlining that, of understanding what is that for me, of what does retirement look like? Because if you don't know what you're anticipating for retirement, you can't really plan for retirement if you don't know what you're planning for.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Finding your sense of purpose. With the airline pilots, I think that can be the hardest, because your identity, especially for males, your identity is what you do and who you are. Definitely. And then so when that's not there anymore, then for a C-suite executive, it's the same thing. You're used to kind of being catered to and kind of ruling the world, and you probably don't rule your home if you've been working that much over your career. Yeah. So there's definitely some adjustments. I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm going to do some part-time work when I retire. I can never stop working. And that I often translate that to mean that I have to have a sense of purpose. I need to be doing something.
Definitely.
It's not because they can't afford to retire. It's just because they need to have that drive every day. So understanding what that looks like is very important.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's really important if you have, a spouse or a partner that you're going into retirement with, to make sure you're both on the same page of what does retirement look like. Because I think sometimes it can be seen as, oh, well, so-and-so is going to retire this year, but it's like, well, what does that mean for you guys as a family? Are you both on the same path? And I think it's something too, when we're going through the planning process, we talk through expectations and concerns for retirement. But the big thing that is always kind of notated when we're going through it is you don't have to agree on everything on these. We know you're two different people, but it's also, if you're not agreeing on those, then we do have to find that harmony of it too. So if one spouse is wanting to travel the world and go everywhere in retirement, but one's wanting to stay home, well, where does that middle ground come to?
I think the biggest one I've seen is the staggered retirement. So one person retires before the other, and whenever the male retires before the female, I it's like every time it's like she doesn't know it. He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna retire probably next year," and she looks at him like, "What? Well, what am I supposed to do? I have to work 5 more years." You know? So not being on the same page on that front can be difficult.
Yeah.
But yes, communication in any marriage is a good thing to have.
Yes. And you just want to make sure you have that shared vision for retirement, and making sure that you're both just on that same page and want to achieve the same things out of retirement, even if it is a staggered retirement where one of you is working longer, that, you can figure out, well, what is the balance of that partnership now of, only one spouse is working when we had 2 working before, or both of us are no longer working. What does that look like? And so, just figuring out how the home operates at that point can be very different. I think even joking, we kind of joke about it through the planning process too, of, are you going to have too much time together? And I think it is funny, even with especially I think our pilot families, it's like, maybe, I mean, I'm gone, 14 days out of the month sometimes. And now I'm going to be home all the time. How is that going to work? And so, some couples are like, I can't believe that would even be on there. And then others are, oh no, we're actually concerned about that. So, even finding those boundaries with yourself of when do you need alone time, and, just again, having those communication and open communication with any marriage is important. Absolutely. Or even any just long partnership. Cause I think, even sometimes in retirement, are on a second marriage or just second, relationship in general. So overall there, just really talking openly, with your spouse or partner is important. But then also going into the next point here is auditing your social network, which I love this for the mental capacity that is so important. So there's just such a big loneliness epidemic once you retire a lot of times, and people don't prioritize finding that community. And so then they just go through a really kind of tough depression in some ways when they retire, because they don't have the community that they had at work. You don't realize how much you enjoy your coworkers until you're not going to see them every day. Or
sometimes they help you retire because you don't, because you're frustrated, but yes,
exactly. But you're still getting that kind of, conversation, even if it's, the water cooler talk or, whatever it may be. And so it's now, figuring out, well, where am I going to get that social interaction that I used to get, from work? And now I have to go find that myself, because it is very easy to become a recluse in retirement and just sit at home and do whatever hobby you want to do. And if that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. But it's also finding that social interaction, that'll allow you to have, a sense of community and a sense of even finding that purpose. And really, I think a lot of that comes from, your hobbies that you do. So, jokingly, everyone has, pickleball on the brain, I think, for all retirees. But, whether it's having a pickleball club or even a book club, if you're a big reader, and just going to that a few, times a week or once a week, however it may be. And then, even just figuring out those kinds of hobbies to just fill your time and find your like-minded community in that way. So. And overall, just looking at just those hobbies and figuring out what is important to you, and then how can you kind of build that community from there. And a lot of times your friends likely already have similar kind of hobbies, and it's just kind of, taking the launch or the leap to, be a part of either a club or a group, or even start one yourself if you have something you're passionate about and, want others to be a part of. Before we jump back into the episode, do you know if you are ready to take off and launch into retirement? Get your pre-retirement checklist, a free guide from Wiser Wealth Management, From cash flow to Social Security, we've got your countdown covered. Go to wiserinvestor.com/guides to download your free guide today. Now let's get back to the episode. Next point is test driving your future lifestyle, which I find this one interesting. Yeah. But I think this is really important if you're trying to move, especially in retirement, is making sure you know where you're moving and that you're going to actually enjoy where you're moving to.
Yeah.
Because going for a few days is one thing, but going for,
Yeah, you want to move to the beach and then you move there and then you realize that your neighbors are different every single week because you moved into a more rental type community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's kind of a surprise sometimes. Or you love the lake, but then you find out that you don't actually like living on a lake for some reason. I mean, or definitely moving to a different city.
Yeah.
We tell people that anyway. Maybe it's better to rent before you move to a new city if you don't know anything about the city.
No, definitely.
But same way in retirement, you want to make sure that you kind of dip your toe in the water and big changes.
Yes. You just want to be certain before you start making any of those bigger moves, like you're saying, of like purchasing a home or, getting anything to establish there before you've truly, had the ability.
Too, is people think about, I'm going to move out. I'm going to move on and live on, 300 acres, middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. You got to think about healthcare.
Yes.
Like the people up in like Blue Ridge and LJ, Georgia right now, they have to come down. They come to Jasper for probably emergencies. Below that, anything major, they're probably coming to Atlanta. So you have to think about healthcare.
Yes.
And how that affects you. It kind of goes into our next point. Evaluate your health and prioritize it.
Yes.
I'll say this. I went through a little health scare a couple years ago, and what I learned is there's like no VIP for like healthcare. No. you can get a primary doctor that doesn't have that many people, doesn't have that many patients and is really good. And you can pay a little extra for that. But there's no like first class economy comfort plus for healthcare. Everyone's supposed to be the same because it's all first class and it's not.
Yes.
So the best thing you can do is keep yourself out of healthcare. So if young people are listening, do your exercises, eat well. Because the best thing you do is not be a user of the system.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly.
That's the only solution.
Have you seen those videos of the like 80, 90-year-olds, like women that are like doing pull-ups and like 5-minute long planks and all this stuff?
No.
Oh my goodness. I'll just show it to you after we're done with this podcast, but it is insane. And so there's now all of these, 20, 30-year-olds that are like, I've got to work out now so I can do that. Right. Because I don't want to be the one that's like stuck on the couch or, immobile, and not able to, enjoy my life because my body has failed me or I've failed my body, I guess is more so the viewpoint there. And it really is, if you are a younger person listening, if you can just set up those habits early, that's what's huge. And establishing those as early as possible. And just keeping with it even as life changes, I feel like.
Right.
Is the tough
That's
part.
The hard part.
Yes.
That's the hard part.
It's like you have a routine and then something happens.
Kids change it.
Yes.
Right. Then there's different phases of kids and what's happening. But
unless you're like Tiffany here in our office and just wake up at 3:30 in the morning to go get your workout in at 4 a.m.
4 a.m. burn. That's crazy. She does it 7 days a week.
She looks amazing.
If we go to a conference somewhere, like evidently there's burns all across the country.
Can she just go into one?
She can go into one. And she always says, I'm going to go do this burn class. And I don't know if she actually does it or not because it's 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm not going to find out. Yeah. But yeah, she has, I was about to say she's crazy. She has crazy good habits. How about that?
Yes.
I'll stick with that. She does.
Yes.
She doesn't eat the sweets and so
it's impressive. It is impressive. Good for her. I'm proud that she is so disciplined. I love my sleep though, is my problem. So, cause she's still like, I don't know how she does it. I genuinely don't, but
I've asked her if she would do a podcast on creating healthy habits, things like that. But she has,
I feel like if we had her and Shauna, it would be like such a,
well, yeah, Shauna, I forgot, Shauna's good at it too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Shauna's an afternoon workouter.
They're like polar opposites. Yeah. Shauna works out at like 9:00 at night.
Right. Tips in bed at 7 because she has to get up at 4 or 3:30. Declutter, simplify your life. That's another point we have. That's important. Simply for administrative purposes. If you have, we have one client that we're working with now. I think there's 20 different accounts, and we can get it simplified down to 4. So if you go from 20 accounts to 4 accounts, that's what you want to do. You want to have one savings account. You want to have one high yield savings account.
Exactly.
People, you don't have to drive bank to bank anymore and have a different CD in each bank, and it's all FDIC insured. And if it's SBIC insured, if it's in a brokerage account, and if you're at one of the, big 3 brokerage houses, I'm not concerned about anybody going out of business. So it just, some people say, I want to I have to diversify. Diversification is not different accounts. It's what's in the account that matters for diversification. So declutter, make things simple to manage in retirement. That's important. I think in your point here, you also have even lifestyle stuff, decluttering.
Yes. Well, I think it's just important because at some point, inevitably, all of us are going to have, someone who's a relative or, someone else is going to have to step into our life and eventually have to either, be our caretaker or, eventually when, we're passing our assets down to others, they're going to have to inherit those. And so it's even, just thinking of caring for your loved ones, of making sure that whoever's coming behind you really has even that ease of use or that ease of, okay, well, mom and dad had all of their accounts at this institution, and this is where, they have all of their investments with this person, and, all of their checking and savings are at this, bank. And then it's just very streamlined, and it makes managing your estate so much simpler. And all of that. And then especially if you're decluttering your home, I think this helps even from a health perspective of making sure that you don't have anything that's just like collecting dust and, just overall germs and residue and mold and all the things of just making sure your home is cleaned and regularly taking out things that don't matter and that you're not using anymore, and having the ability, even if it's, I hate to say it, but even if it's hiring someone to say like, hey, I don't have the ability to clean my 3-story house anymore, or my however much. If you've built a home you love, but you've now gotten older, even if it's saying, hey, I need someone else that's going to come in and make sure that this is taken care of. And it's just something that's so important. And so just making sure that everything's simplified for you and your loved ones, because that's just huge. Even beyond.
A lot of the things that we do for people is people say, I want to downsize, and you start kind of working through what that looks like for them. And downsizing a house is not cheaper in most cases. You sell your house, but you can pay more for the next house. And that's because so many people, there's such a high demand for these 55 plus type communities. So a lot of times it's cheaper to hire a good lawn service, not the kid down the street, but someone who's actually going to plant the flowers and do all that. Exactly. Hire a good housekeeper. It's cheaper to do that than it is to actually, get up and move somewhere.
Yes.
Now you might have a situation where it's an older home, and maybe there's more efficiencies than a newer home, or you just want to, and that's fine too. But yeah, moving, starting to downsize or consolidate or organize is really what it comes down to. Get things organized, make it easier to manage in retirement.
Exactly.
Number 7 is probably my favorite. It's you have here. It's called a start a bucket list. And that's what we started the podcast with, is telling all these people, hey, go out and do something.
Yeah.
Right. There's the strangest things that show up in my Instagram feed, but there's this guy out in Louisiana. His name's Chris Lynn. He's on Instagram. Okay. I don't know what he does for a living. He reminds me of my brother-in-law, actually, who grew up in Cordele, Georgia. But he his whole thing after every post he has is he's like, I'll get up your ass and go do something. Get off your ass, go do something. That's all he always says. I would encourage this podcast to get off your rear end and go do something.
Yes.
Go see something you hadn't seen before. Go do something that brings joy. what I tell a lot of the clients I work with is I give you 2 weeks on the couch, and after that, you got to have a purpose is what I usually say.
Yeah.
So write down a list of things you want to do. Maybe you can do a lot of it pretty quickly, because what happens is it's like you're 60, you feel like, you got some aches and pains, and we both have the privilege of working with people all over the age spectrums. So we know that our 80-year-olds aren't moving as much.
Yes.
Right. We know that 60-year-olds still think, well, we're going to do this sometime.
Yes.
And then 70, 75, a lot of little health things come in. Sometimes you have a health scare about that age. So I'd say make your list, and while your feet can move and your knees don't hurt as much, that's when you want to be climbing steps in Paris.
Exactly.
Because it's a lot harder to do that when you finally get there. If you've done planning right, up until planning, you had the time or you had the money. You never had both. After you got the planning done right, and now you're retired, you should have the time and you should have the money.
Exactly.
So that's when you need to get off your couch and go do something. Next, you want to add to that?
Well, I was going to say, I think one of my favorite stories that you share frequently is the story of, having clients that came in, they just didn't know what they wanted to do. And you sent them, or they weren't going anywhere to travel.
They weren't
and you sent them just a shoebox of postcards.
You can't find postcards anymore.
Go somewhere.
I can't even find it on Amazon anywhere. We ended up buying find an old shoebox of postcards on eBay. And we sent them a shoebox of postcards. Says just pick a spot. I think they ended up going out west or something.
Amazing.
Yellowstone or something like that.
Yeah. But it's so important to have that list though put together and figuring out, things that do make you excited for retirement.
Next one's also my favorite. If I can have two favorites. Point number 8 here is think about legacy and impact. It's like, man, when we're dead and buried and gone, they think about us that day, and then may think about us a couple weeks later, but after that, everything you've done just kind of fades away.
Eventually.
Do you know what your great grandfather did? Probably not.
Well, I have one great grandfather that was alive for most of my life, too.
Well, I'm just saying, even great great grandfather.
Yeah, no.
Like,
right? True. Very true.
So you become that weird picture in a photo album for people who still have those photo album, and you're like, I don't know who that is. And you have to look on the back of the card and go, oh, that's Uncle so-and-so or whatever, right? And I would just say, how do you leave a lasting impact? And one, it's telling your family story, especially if you have a good story, telling your family story. I hope that based on what we're building here, I hope that 3 generations down, that my family is still talking about, oh, there was this company called Wiser Wealth Management. It's still here today, but that's where it all started for us.
Yeah.
I'm the first generation to do this. There prior generations have done this, but they didn't transfer well.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
My great grandfather had a plastics business, and it did not transfer well. When he passed away, went to the employees of the company.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So it all just kind of ended, right there.
Oh, interesting.
So there was some strife between 2 generations, right? So they couldn't get it to
the classic. Yeah.
They couldn't get
Succession.
They couldn't get over the hump there, I guess. I don't know all the details, but I'm not running a plastics company right now. So, but it's legacy is just so important. It's like, what are we doing with our time? How can we impact the next generation? Maybe it's education. Maybe it's making sure your grandkids are going to school, but then your kids are telling the story. Hey, your grandparents paid for this education. It could be little things like that, which sometimes that can be a big thing too, depending on where they go. But the point is like, what are you doing to make an impact on others? It doesn't have to be immediate family, because we all have that weird uncle. We all have that weird whatever, right? Yeah. But it could be your volunteering, your time in organization. It could be something.
Exactly.
Maybe there's a plaque somewhere with your name on it. but what are we doing to make to impact other people's lives? That's important. That's kind of like the foundation of this whole firm, quite honestly, is because we work with so many people probably 25% of the people we meet with as far as prospects go really can't afford our services, but we kind of dive into it for 45 minutes and try to solve the problem.
Yes.
Right. Or give them some give them some hope. That's what a lot of people need, is just hope. Right.
Yes.
And so you want to have a legacy such as that, or you make up your own, whatever is important to you. Right.
Yeah. No, definitely. And it's just, figuring out what do you want to be remembered for and what steps. I think I love the book that you had us read, Hero on a Mission. Still one of my favorite things.
Oh yeah. Donald Miller's Hero on a Mission. If you're struggling with like, what is my purpose? What am I trying to do? That is a great book to read.
No, it's great. I'm so excited. We had our interns read it this summer and we're debriefing it tomorrow, actually. So I'm excited to have that conversation with them. But
did they read A Random Walk Down Wall Street too?
Yes, they did.
Have they finished that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should talk to them about that.
Okay. There you go.
We have a week left with our interns. I need to figure this out. You've done a great job, by the way. Michaela was basically the mother for the interns all summer long.
Well, thank you.
So she helped design, mostly designed. I guess you and Alexa kind of worked together on that.
Yes, we did.
Designing our intern program. So you did a great job with that.
Oh, well, thank you.
We've got one from Furman, one from Auburn.
Yes.
So. Yeah. Great summer for them. And we've gotten a lot of projects knocked out. So kudos to you for that.
So many projects. We came into the summer thinking they'd be good to get like 25 projects done that we put in front of them. And they have well exceeded that. I think they're at 60 now. I didn't even know we could have so many projects.
They're gonna want full-time jobs. So better be careful.
I know. But going back to that book, it's just a great synopsis of figuring out, well, what is my 10-year goal? What do I want to be remembered for? Even like, he has you or wants you to write your own eulogy. And I think that was so thought-provoking for me, even just thinking through that of, no, like actually though, what if I were to be, many years down the line and it, someone standing there to say the words over my life of what I exuded, like, what do I want that to be? Like, what do I want those words? Because at the end of the day, it's not going to be, oh, like Casey Smith met with 1,000 you've met with more than 1,000 clients, but like it's not going to be your numerical, or he had this much in AUM at Wiser Wealth Management. It's going to be, he cared for his clients well.
That's what actually what's in our employee handbook is that, at the end, nobody puts in our tombstone that we ran an efficient wealth management firm.
No, they
or
don't.
the best wealth management firm. Like nobody cares at that point. It's about the lives that you touch. So yeah, that's really important.
It is. And it's just figuring out what are those small steps you can do today that eventually get you to living the life that you want to be remembered for. And I think he does a great job of putting that together in that book. So definitely a great thing to read if you're wanting to kind of figure out, well, what legacy and impact do I want to have? If you're someone that just, you don't know what that is yet.
So I think we've covered it very well. Retirement is not an end, it's a beginning.
Yes.
So you have to prepare emotionally and mentally, socially, along with your financial planning to set yourself up to be richer, more fulfilling, have a richer and more fulfilling retirement experience. I'm reading Michaela's words. Exactly. Couldn't say it better than how Michaela put it in the notes here. Are you ready to start mapping out your retirement lifestyle? You can schedule a consultation with our team to create a plan that aligns with your vision, financially and beyond. Shauna and Michaela are here ready to work with you. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in learning more about Wiser Wealth Management or want to schedule a consultation, meet with one of our fiduciary financial advisors. You can do so by going to wiserinvestor.com or by clicking the link in the episode notes. Thanks again. We'll see you guys again next week.
See you next week.